Schaefer Industries operates several companies in the western United States that process steel coil and steel strip for a number of mills and industries in the region. The nature of our business is such that employees are exposed to large machinery, sharp edges, and heavy pieces of steel, an environment that, without proper training and strict adherence to safety guidelines, could cause injury or death. Because our employees represent our greatest single asset, we are committed to a policy requiring every reasonable effort to be made in the areas of accident prevention, fire protection, employee health, and environmental preservation. In short, it is our policy that every employee is entitled to a safe and healthful place to work. Failure to follow these guidelines may lead to disciplinary action or loss of employment. George Schaefer.
Welcome to Schaefer Industries. Schaefer Industries is the leader in the metal processing and distribution business. Because of the size and the nature of our product and our equipment, adherence to our safety procedures is imperative. All jobs within Schaefer Industries can be performed safely and efficiently by using common sense and following our established safety procedures. We at Schaefer Industries have prepared the following video to familiarize you with our safety program and hope it will leave you with an understanding of our company operations and safety policies. In closing, safety within Schaefer Industries has and always will be a top priority.
We at Schaefer Industries believe that accidents can be prevented with good communication and by following a few simple rules. For the most part, industrial plant safety is common sense, a way of behavior. It should be an important part of performing every task the correct way, whether it's loading a truck, operating a crane, or performing an acid line pipe repair. On every job, every time, every day, safety must be an integral part of the task. Every employee is responsible for their safety and the safety of their co-workers. The most frequent accidents on any industrial site can be reduced or eliminated by the use of appropriate personal safety equipment. All plant employees must wear hard hats and steel-toed shoes with metatarsal protection at all times. Because handling materials with sharp, slit, or jagged edges can result in cuts or lacerations, hand protection with gloves appropriate for the job are also required. Beyond the normal safety glasses that will be provided to each plant employee, additional eye protection is required when performing any task that could produce flying particles, weld flash, or chemical spills. Employees are not allowed to wear loose-fitting clothing or jewelry that could get caught in moving machinery. For the same reason, long hair must be restrained while working around moving equipment. Visitors are also required to wear and will be provided with the necessary personal protection equipment before entering the plant. Our products are processed with machinery that must be operated safely and kept in good working condition at all times. It is imperative that all safety guards remain in place while a machine is being operated. Tampering with safety devices such as guards or light curtains is cause for immediate disciplinary action. Should you notice a defective piece of equipment, immediately turn it off, tag the equipment, and report it to your supervisor. This is especially important when working shifts, since you can no longer assume everyone else knows the equipment status. Again, safety is closely tied to good communication. Machines must never be cleaned, adjusted, or repaired until the power is turned off and the circuit is broken at the source. A lock must be placed at the power source, and a tag indicating repair in process must be placed at the controls by maintenance personnel. Never remove another person's lock from a tagged and locked-out station. One of the most common injuries at any plant is back strain. Know and observe the correct position and technique for lifting. Stand with your feet slightly apart and assume a squatting position with knees bent. Tilt your head forward, grasp the load with both hands, and gradually push up with your legs, keeping your back straight while avoiding any abrupt movement. If an object is too heavy to move without possible strain, ask for help from a coworker. Should a work-related injury or accident occur, regardless of how minor, it must be reported immediately to your supervisor. First aid and eye wash stations are available and located throughout the plant. It is your responsibility to always know how to locate these stations. Forklifts are used extensively at Schaefer Industries, and proper safety procedures must always be followed when working with them. As with any other piece of machinery, operate a forklift only after you have been properly trained. Inspect any forklift you're asked to operate prior to its use. Note any unsafe features with a sign or tag before you report the problem to your supervisor. When driving a forklift, always stay within the cage and never let another employee ride on the outside. Lowering the forks when driving will lower the center of gravity and thereby make the forklift more stable. This will also reduce the likelihood of product damage or employee injury if a load should fall. If a load is so large that it blocks your vision, always travel in reverse with the forklift well under steering and brake control. When approaching a blind corner, use the horn to alert others of your presence and always yield the right-of-way to pedestrians. Never park a forklift in a traffic area, in front of an exit, or where it could block emergency equipment. And finally, when you leave the forklift, always lower the forks and apply the parking brake. Another feature common throughout the Schaefer Industries steel operations is the presence of overhead cranes. Since all employees will eventually come in contact with crane operations, it is important to understand basic crane operations and learn to work safely around the overhead crane, its load, and with the crane operator. Prior to operating a crane, all crane operators are responsible to check all brakes, hooks, cables, chains, and to ensure that limit switches are in good working order. Care should be taken to ensure a load does not exceed the rated capacity of the crane. Operators should always monitor activities around the crane and ensure the area is clear of hazards prior to lifting a load. Care must also be taken to avoid letting a load come in contact with obstacles or personnel by making only slow, gradual movements. Because crane operation requires considerable concentration, always approach the operator from the front or side to avoid startling him or her. Even though operation of the crane is the primary responsibility of the crane operator, it is everyone's responsibility to alert him or her of any imminent collision by holding your hands together, arms extended over your head, and shouting loudly. All employees should also help block coils if requested to do so, and remember to always give a wide berth to loads that are being handled and transported. One of our primary services is slitting steel coil into smaller coils, or molts, sized to our customers' needs. To accomplish this task, slitting machines are normally equipped with large motors, powerful hydraulic and pneumatic cylinders, sharp knives, and other devices which are capable of inflicting severe injury or death if not operated properly. Slitting operations therefore require a great deal of concentration and careful attention to following prescribed procedures. A brief discussion of the operation of the slitter will help employees understand and recognize the possible dangers associated with this machinery. Once steel coil is placed on the uncoiler, a large hydraulic overarm is lowered to hold the steel from unwinding when the metal retaining band is cut. Prior to actually cutting the band, care should be taken to ensure the retaining arm is placed near enough to the coil end that an unexpected unwinding of the coil does not occur and strike the operator. The steel end is then fed into a peeler table where a large hydraulic cutting press cuts the end square. The steel is fed through an alignment roll into the slitting head where a series of knives are positioned according to the size of the molts to be cut. Even though these knives simply score the steel so it will break, they are very sharp and must always be handled with care. During operation, steel travels through the slitter at hundreds of feet per minute, creating a number of sharp edges that could be very dangerous. Because of this, it is imperative that employees give the slitter a wide berth. Another major part of the machinery is the edge scrap winders on both sides of the line. All slit coils will generate a thin scrap strip, which is collected by the scrap winders. Special care and attention is always necessary around these scrap winders. Cut ends are fed across the pit leveling table through coil guides, a tension stand, and onto the recoiler, which also is equipped with an overarm. The leveling table is located above a pit that is over 40 feet deep. Although the pit is well guarded, special precautions must also be taken at all times in this area. When working around the slitter, stand clear of the exit end recoiler, as if you expect the coiled steel to unwind. Products are banded for safety and shipment purposes. Always keep the overarm separator down until all molds are secured with retaining bands. There is always a potential for banding to fail and release the wound steel coil. When handling the finished goods, never take for granted that the coil is secured, even if it's banded. Even thin, narrow molds can weigh thousands of pounds, so care should always be taken when working around any finished product banded for shipment. Slitter operations are controlled from a control panel located safely away from the moving parts of the slitter. Operators must ensure the slitter is never operated beyond its designed capacity, and like all areas of the plant, they must maintain a clean work area. Prior to operation, operators should scan the area to ensure all personnel are in a safe location and continue to closely monitor the whole slitting process. When approaching the slitter, always establish eye contact with the control operator to get his or her acknowledgement that you are in the area. Even though the slitter operator has primary responsibility for the slitter operations, everyone should familiarize themselves with the hazards of the slitter and know the location of the 6 emergency stops. These are located around the slitter to activate an emergency stop from any location. Let's quickly review some of the potential safety hazards associated with the slitter. These hazard areas include the running point of the strip and the coil, overarm separator and separator discs, the moving strands of the steel material, the edges of moving strands, the possible uncontrolled unwinding of the coil, the cut molds as they are being transported or packaged, scrap strands, and finally, a broken strand or unexpected tail-out of the coil. In addition to these safety hazard areas, always keep in mind personal behavior safety concerns associated with the slitter. Never move the exit end coil car without the safety bars in place. Never place any part of your hands, arms, or body in the squeeze, pinch, or shear points. Never position yourself between steel material and a piece of machinery. And finally, never cut the banding without securing the outer wrap of the coil first. It is only through good communication with fellow workers and an awareness of safety issues that safety can be maintained and enhanced. Remember, your safety and the safety of your coworkers is and remains your #1 responsibility at Schaefer Industries. Another area at Schaefer Industries that requires special attention is the pickle line. To better understand the safety concerns of the coil steel pickle line, let's take a look at the pickle line itself. Pickling is the process of passing hot-rolled steel through an acid solution to remove surface oxides and scale. The steel is then treated with oil to prevent future rust. The finished steel is recoiled and banded to be slit into smaller coils or sold as complete coils to our clients. In addition to the safety concerns of overhead cranes, forklifts, tools, machinery, and steel coils, the pickle bay has the added presence of hydrochloric acid. The acid is contained in corrosion-resistant storage and mix tanks located inside and outside the building. Only trained personnel are allowed to enter the pickle bay and acid spill containment pit. Because of the unique nature of this area, there are unique personal safety equipment requirements. When working with acids or other corrosive substances, all employees must wear special acid-resistant rubber gloves and boots. In the event of a major hydrochloric acid spill, evacuate the building